defending Jalen Brunson.
Oh, hey, thank you for that. I can always use a good laugh. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Run It Back Philly NBA edition, because the 76ers are not part of any of this. Some NBA games happened last night that we're going to talk about. Jalen Brunson is finally getting exposed across the NBA universe. I don't know why it took this long, but it seems like everybody's kind of catching on now. It seems like it just started. Like, everybody's like, oh my God, you see Jalen Brunson flopping in it? What? He's been doing it for years. Where you been at? Where you been at? Anyway, Knicks fans, I'm not here to gloat and say I was right about the Knicks team when I called them a team full of role players last year, and I was labeled the biggest hater of all time. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's all coming to fruition, man. Eventually, everyone's going to start to admit that I am the all-knowing hoops watcher. And basically everything I say is right and comes to fruition. I'm just here to teach you what I already know. That's why I'm here. That's why I started this YouTube channel. I'm here to tell you what I already know. All right, listen. Thanks for being here. Everybody hit the like button. Whether you're watching because you love me and you love hearing my takes, or you clicked on it because you hate what I'm about to say, I think I deserve for you to hit the like button anyway. This is brought to you by Game Time Ticket app. $20 off code on your ticket purchase on Game Time by using code CLNS. And Mando full body deodorant, $5 off your starter pack using code SICKOS, SICKOS. Vlad, what's up, man? Shout out to the members in the chat. He headbutted and jumped into Kelly Oubre all series last year. He did. And yeah, and then what else outside of the Jalen Brunson stuff? Clippers tied the series. The Nuggets choked at the end. Kawhi Leonard went healthy. Might be one of the greatest basketball players in the history of the entire game. And Tobias Harris is doing things as a Detroit Piston that he has literally never done in a Philadelphia 76ers uniform. There's also apparently some NBA teams are interested in hiring Elton Brand. Couldn't tell you why, but we're going to talk about that too. Thanks for being here. Hit the like button. Let's get down to business. Let's check in on my bracket, man. Let's check in on my playoff bracket. Of course, I picked the Rockets over the Warriors. They play tomorrow. I got the Lakers over the T-Wolves. They got smacked in game one. They play tonight at 10 o'clock, so we'll see if they can tie that 1-1. My Denver Nuggets over Clippers prediction looked good game one. Clippers pulled one out last night, tied at 1-1. My Pistons over Knicks prediction still stands a chance. Game one, the Detroit Pistons scored 86 points in an entire 2025 basketball game, so that made me nervous about that prediction. But last night, they got it done in New York to tie it 1-1. So, my Pistons over Knicks prediction still stands a chance. Now, the first thing we are going to talk about is the exposure of Jalen Brunson. And I'm not one that just picks a player to hate on. Some people think that. But for years now, I've been watching Jalen Brunson, and I've been completely annoyed by what I see, by the way that he plays the game. And I always give him his credit. I always say that he's an amazing player. He's an amazing scorer. He's a very clutch scorer. He comes up huge in fourth quarter. And if the game's tied under a minute and you need a bucket, he's going to give you a bucket. But it's throughout the game, the way that he plays is bad for the game. It's bad for the game. Nobody wants to watch this. The ratings are down because of players like Jalen Brunson. Nobody wants to see this crap. This is not basketball. Every time you breathe on him, he throws his head back. He throws his arms up. Then he's doing the pump fake and then dives headfirst into a defender and gets 3 free throws. The fact that the NBA hasn't fixed it yet is probably more ridiculous than the fact that some of these guys are still playing like this. But it is what it is. I came across this take by D-Rich TV on Instagram, and I want to react to it. Where's the sound?
Here to watch play basketball. You want to talk about foul?
Damn it.
The most annoying player to watch play basketball. You want to talk about foul baiting? I'm watching that New York Knicks Detroit Pistons game, almost broke my damn TV, and I almost threw up at the same damn time watching Jalen Brunson foul bait.
See? But why is the reaction? Where was everybody last year? Why is the reaction like this is the first time he's done this? Everybody's just catching on right now.
The whole damn game, specifically that play when he foul baited against Arthur Thompson when he was going up the court and he was guarding him, and clearly he hooked Thompson's arm, and they gave
yeah
Thompson the foul. And then that little pump fake he do where he clearly leans into the defender, and then they give him the call. And then you want to talk about the play where he was coming off a screen, clearly stopped and made Thompson run into him.
Yep. That's what he does too. He goes around the screen and he stops halfway. That's the Damian Lillard screen flop. That's the Jalen Brunson screen flop. Little tricks that these players have figured out. It probably all started with James Harden in 2015-ish. But these little tricks that they figured out, they've been outsmarting officials for years now. The NBA needs to figure it out.
Then fell down to the ground and they gave him the call. And then in the last minute of the game, after Schroeder hit a three, he tried to hit a three, and then he fell down. He didn't make the three, but he tried to fall down. I'm surprised they didn't give him that damn flop.
Yep.
And then you talk about the hook that he was doing. I seen him do it twice in the game where he hooked a defender, then go around. Schroeder did it. They called it, but he did it. They didn't call it. Listen, I respect everything that he has done in the game of basketball.
I don't.
Being an undersized guard.
I don't. Trae Young's the same way. You know what I hate? I hate when people say, it's a smart, he's a smart player for playing this way because he's undersized. No, that's not how that works. If you're too undersized to score efficiently in the NBA, then you're just not, your size is a limitation to what you can do. The fact that you're flopping and foul baiting because you're undersized, that's not smart to me. It's cheap. Where's the dignity? You know what I mean? Where's your pride, man? Where's your pride? I want to look at one of the plays specifically, all right? Here is NBA Centel posted all of them. Obviously, I can't play it in full motion because YouTube likes to shoot me down. There's one on minimal contact. Good defense, good position. He throws the elbow out and then dives onto the floor. Come on, man. Come on, man. How are officials still calling this type of stuff defensive fouls? The NBA has to be better. They have to be better. Here's probably the pump fake and the lean in. Yep, right here. The pump fake. Now, I want to show you the NBA rule on this, okay? Pump fake. Defender jumps. Leans forward. Yeah, the defender jumps forward, right? But not into his shooting space. His shooting space right here is behind the three-point line. If your shooting space is behind the three-point line and you dive forward and create contact in front of the three-point line, that is not a foul on a three-pointer. It's not a shooting foul at all because it's not a natural shooting motion. You should not be getting 3 free throws for that shit. This dumbass referee right here, number 58, calls it a foul and gives him 3 free throws. Also, Jalen Brunson does this right here. Look at him on the floor. He's celebrating the fact that he just fouled out Asar Thompson by flopping. We now have a player who has flop celebrations. He flops so much and gets the call. This is now his game. This is now his game, is flopping for calls. Like, bro, you didn't score. You didn't make a nice play. You're celebrating the fact that you flopped and the referee called the foul. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing for a grown man to do. And the New York Knicks do not deserve to win a single playoff series when your lead guy plays the game this way. Flop Selly. Come on, man. Let's watch another one. Pump fake, jump forward, 3 free throws. Horrible. 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 Now, Knicks fans don't want to argue. Look at that. That's ridiculous. Knicks fans that want to argue, let me remind you. In the NBA, offensive players are penalized for initiating contact with the defender by jumping into them at an unnatural angle or by extending their body unnaturally into the defender. This is considered an offensive foul. The rule aims to prevent players from using unnatural movements to draw fouls. So how is this a rule that is in the rule book that the officials don't seem to understand? NBA officials don't know NBA rules. Because all of those plays by Brunson should be offensive fouls according to the rule book. But they continue to give him that call. And nobody wants to watch. This is why the ratings are down. Somebody turns on an NBA basketball game and sees that. They're like, oh, this is what the game is now. This is why I don't watch it anymore, because this is what the game is now. You don't think that affects overall ratings? Of course it does. They got to figure it out. He's gotten a lot less of the calls. I think it's fun that Trae Young got ejected from a game for being frustrated by the officials. I think Jalen Brunson has gotten a lot less of these calls throughout this playoff so far. But like when Dennis Schroeder hits a big 3 to put the Pistons up 3, Brunson comes down. He knows I don't have to make a shot. I don't have to make a shot like he just made a shot. I just have to bait the defender and create contact to get to the free throw line to tie the game. It's so much worse when it's in the final minutes and it's a shot. It's a foul bait to tie a close playoff game. It's so much worse. They got to get it out of the league. But the New York Knicks are not going to win a championship with a player that plays like that. Because the basketball gods won't allow it. James Harden have a championship playing like that? Nope. Does Joel Embiid have a championship playing like that? Nope. You know who else? You know who else isn't talked about? Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic has turned into one of the wildest floppers in the NBA. And nobody talks about it. Come on, bro. You are 7 feet tall, 395 pounds. And they called this a foul on Chris Dunn. Bro, are you kidding me? Where's your shame? Embarrassing. Should be embarrassed. There was another one. Here's the one on Harden. There's a closer angle right here. Here's the one on Harden. Oh, can't do that. Here's the one on Harden. Watch this. Harden, little bit of a shoulder lean. Jokic. Oh! 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 Bro, did he stab you? What are you doing? And they didn't call this, by the way, which is hilarious. And it was towards the end of the game. Come on, man. We got to stop this. The only way to stop this is to fine players for doing it. The NBA should have a department that's going through every game, every single possession, and is judging whether or not it was an intentional flop to try to foul bait or not, and sending players fines for it. That has to happen. They have to do it. They have to do it, man. Now, like, my take on the Knicks game in general, or the series, where the hell's the scores at? Let's go back to NBA.com. I was nervous about the Detroit Pistons only scoring 86 points in game one because Cade Cunningham is basically their entire team. And I was like, how are they going to generate enough offense to win a game in this series? They came back in game two and put up 100. They held New York to 94. I also think that Jalen Brunson is hurting the Knicks by being a ball hog. You know? Karl Anthony Towns only had 11 field goal attempts in the whole game. He had 0 field goal attempts in the fourth quarter. He only had 2 field goal attempts in the entire second half. Jalen Brunson as a point guard is, you know, that's a little bit of his responsibility to get Karl Anthony Towns involved. I think also Karl Anthony Towns is soft and disappears when moments are the biggest. And, which, you know, you traded DiVincenzo, you traded Julius Randle, you lost some of your toughness. You traded toughness for scoring. It was always a question of, like, is that going to work out? Game two, you know, they showed their weaknesses. Mikal Bridges was 8 for 18. 3 for 11 from 3. The Knicks, listen, man, when you guys, you know, signed all these high-level role players and made these trades, I was just like, these guys are OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. Like, they acted like they signed LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. They acted like they put together a super team. You got a bunch of nice role players, man, and you gave up superstar amount of draft picks for it. And superstar money. And Jalen Brunson took a pay cut, and he's still really the only superstar on the team. So, no, I don't believe in the Knicks at all. I don't really believe in the Pistons in the long run, but I do think they can beat the Knicks in this playoff series. I do think they can beat the Knicks in this playoff series. 86 was the Magic. 85 was the Pistons then. I mean, are we talking about the difference in, like, 1 point difference here? Where's Detroit game one? Where's Detroit game one? Was it Monday? Was it Saturday? Oh, 123 to 112. You're right. What am I? There was 2 teams that only scored 86. Oh, Orlando, Boston, Memphis, OKC scored 80. You are right. I am wrong. They did score. What did I say? They scored 112 in the first game. Way to go, Eastwood. You don't even know what you're talking about. What did they do in game 1 versus game 2 then? Beasley had 20. Cunningham had 21. Tobias Harris had 25, but he was a minus 16. Dennis Schroeder only had 8. Dennis Schroeder had 20 off the bench yesterday, so that helped them out a lot. So they're getting contributions from everybody. And let's go. Detroit, in, what did I say, 5? Probably not 5, but Detroit, I'll take Detroit in 7. Speaking of Detroit, Tobias Harris, ladies and gentlemen, Tobias Harris had 13 rebounds in this game. 13 rebounds in this game. 15 points and 13 rebounds. The amount of times Tobias Harris recorded 13 or more rebounds in a playoff game as a 76er over the course of 6 years, he had 0. He just did something in his second Detroit Pistons playoff game that he did not do in a 76ers uniform for 6 seasons. And the answer to why? Culture, the message from the top, coaching, motivation, like all of that is involved in player motivation, right? When they like where they are, when they feel the camaraderie, when they feel like they're a part of something, when they feel like they're contributing to something that can be special, when they feel like they're an important part of what's happening, they're motivated to go out there and try their hardest to help the team win. We've witnessed Tobias Harris in Philly show on the court so many times that he doesn't really care if they win or not. He clearly cares more about the Detroit Pistons winning a playoff series right now than he ever cared about the 76ers winning a playoff series. And there's something there. There's something there about culture, connection, passion, how he feels about the Detroit Pistons organization. There's something there, some kind of connection with the city, the team, the organization, the front office. There's something there that has Tobias Harris caring more about playing for the Detroit Pistons. He came to Philly and he did not really care if they won or lost. That's what seems to be missing in the 76ers organization. And we can say the same thing about Paul George. I don't know if Paul George ever cared, really, because he didn't seem like he cared in LA either. Maybe he cared in Indiana back in the earlier parts of his career. But these players come to Philly, they get paid, and they don't care about winning. And then we all attack the players' mentality. We all call, and I did it. I fell victim to this. I fell victim to being a hater. Because the on the surface level of emotional reaction is this guy is soft and this guy plays soft and this guy can't do it and doesn't have it and doesn't care. But now you're seeing, why doesn't this player care? Because then you go see him play for another team. And I'm not saying he's an amazing talent. I'm not saying he was ever worth that max contract or anything like that. But the rebounding equals effort. It's flat out effort. And when he has 13 rebounds in his second Detroit Pistons playoff game, and he never had a playoff game for the Sixers with 13 or more rebounds in 6 years, there's clearly something with the culture and the whole vibe of the team, the organization, and everything that just does not exist in Philadelphia. It doesn't exist in the Sixers organization. Less pressure. Nobody cared about the Pistons this year. Same thing when he was playing great on the Clippers. I'm talking about something he did in a playoff game with national basketball fans watching. I'm not talking about his point per game average or something in the regular season. I'm talking about his relentless effort in a playoff game. There's way more pressure in a playoff game. So Tobias Harris is proving that the Sixers organization lacks culture and a real message and a real vibe that makes the players want to go out there and play hard. And they need to change it. And they need to change it fast. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, somebody wants to hire Elton Brand. Maybe I'll react to these Nico Harrison quotes about the Luka Doncic thing because it's insane. But first, this is brought to you by Game Time Ticket app. It is springtime, and it is time to go to some baseball games. And Game Time is the best place for you to get your baseball tickets. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CLNS for $20 off. You can go to a Phillies game right now in New York for $4 on Game Time Ticket app. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price. Guaranteed. Thank you to Game Time for sponsoring the channel. Who the hell wants to hire Elton Brand? Should we talk about that? Should we react to some more Tobias Harris stuff first? Sixers fans watching Tobias Harris actually score in playoff games. Tobias Harris. Oh, his defense on Karl Anthony Towns was great too. But Tobias Harris was always a good. He was always a good, at least interior defender. He was always a good post defender. He was always pretty good at guarding power forwards and centers in the paint. And Karl Anthony Towns isn't exactly a guy that's gonna move anybody. Championship and Hall of Fame used to bring players more money. Now players don't need the extra money. That is very true. These guys get $200 million and lose all motivation. They don't care at all. I've been told that Brand is one of the more respected GMs in the league. All right, let's look at that, man. Because I don't know what Elton Brand does for the Sixers right now. Daryl Morey took over as president of basketball operations a couple years ago after all of the bad stuff that happened, Mikal Bridges trade, the Al Horford signing, all that stuff. And Elton Brand has just been hanging out in the back of the office, since then. The Atlanta Hawks fired their GM, and Sixers executive Elton Brand is expected to be among the candidates pursued by Atlanta as the Hawks begin their search for a new lead executive. Like, let's look at all the things Elton Brand did. Elton Brand's moves in Phil. Let's ask AI. What were Elton Brand's worst GM decisions in Philadelphia, or as 76ers general manager? I could probably list them off the top of my head. Signing Al Horford to a $100 million contract was ridiculous. The Sixers, as soon as he got in there, all the assets of Sam Hinkie stacked. He was like, let's trade this, let's trade this, let's trade this. You know, stuffed together a bunch of who they thought were star players. At least they thought Tobias Harris was a star player, and we all were like, "Oh my God, we got Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, all these players were going to be so good," but we didn't realize that none of them can space the floor. There was no real point guard with Ben Simmons at the helm. Elton Brand served as general manager for the 76ers from September 2018 until Daryl Morey took over as president in late 2020. AI seems to think that Elton Brand was not the GM after 2020. Or, AI says after which Brand's role became less prominent. Even AI knows that Elton Brand was sent to the back of the office to laminate schedules when Daryl Morey came here. Below are some of the most notable missteps based on available information and sentiment from fans and analysts. Number 1, signing Al Horford to a 4-year, $97 million contract. Why was it problematic? Brand signed veteran center Al Horford to a 4-year, $97 million deal, aiming to bolster the front court and counter opposing bigs. However, Horford's fit alongside Joel Embiid was poor due to overlapping skill sets, as both were most effective in the paint, clogging the offense. Duh. Hey, should we play 2 centers at the same time in 2020? No. Of course you shouldn't. The move was widely criticized for ignoring the need for shooters and ball handlers to complement Embiid and Simmons. Let's go, AI. Let's go. Yeah. You need to space the floor. The signing contributed to the Sixers' lackluster finish that year. What else? Re-signing Tobias Harris to a 5-year, $180 million contract. So the Al Horford contract, the Tobias Harris contract, letting Jimmy Butler and JJ Redick leave in free agency. And AI is smoking Elton Brand right now. Trading Markelle Fultz for minimal return. I don't know if that Markelle Fultz, his time was up here in Philly, man. He could not get healthy. Overpaying in the Tobias Harris trade. Nobody talks about this one. What he gave up to get Tobias Harris: Landry Shamet, Mike Muscala, Wilson Chandler, a top 14 protected first-round pick, and a 2020 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. While Harris was a valuable addition, the inclusion of Shamet, a promising young shooter, and multiple draft picks was seen as an overpay. It absolutely was. And I don't think they're going to talk about. I don't think this is going to talk about trading Mikal Bridges. Wait, is it? No. Context and caveats. Conclusion. Elton Brand's worst decision as a Sixers GM centered on the 2019 offseason, where he overcommitted to Horford, Harris, let Butler and Redick go, mishandled the Fultz trade, and drafted Mikal Bridges and traded him for Zaire Smith. I think that was Elton Brand, or was that Brett Brown as the interim GM? But either way, I can't see how somebody can look at Elton Brand's resume and say to themselves, we should hire Elton Brand. I don't understand that. I don't see how that's possible. Who's to blame for 76ers culture? I think it starts with ownership, man. I think it starts with ownership. There doesn't seem to ever be a real connection. I think there's a disconnection with ownership. I think that, a lot of your intentions in life will bleed through other things, right? And like if an owner purchases a basketball team and doesn't actually care, it's going to be blatantly obvious that he doesn't actually care. You can't hide things like that. It's all of your decisions. Like it's all going to start to be evident that you don't really care. And so over the course of whenever Josh Harris and those guys bought the team in 2011, started the process or whatever, like if you look back on the whole thing, it's definitely just a couple of rich guys purchased something and just threw a bunch of ideas at a wall with no real idea of what they were doing or what they were trying to accomplish. I mean, what they were trying to accomplish was to make a profit, and they did that massively. They bought the team for $500 million. It's now worth $4 billion. And that's a win-win situation if you had that money, because the NBA TV deals every year kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They basically capitalized on a NBA TV deal boom. You know what I mean? It's like buying apartment buildings in a low-income section of a neighborhood, knowing that the value is about to rise, or buying houses when the market is crashing, knowing that the market's about to spike, right? That's all they did. They bought the team because they knew the NBA TV deals and the NBA's overall popularity was going to keep spiking and spiking and spiking. And so you don't have to win to make money on that. You just buy the team and the value continues to go up. They also did a good job of at least selling hope to a fan base. That's really all you have to do. If there's a losing franchise, all you have to do is sell hope to the desperate fan base because they want to win so bad. They hadn't won for so many years. The 76ers ownership did a good job of at least giving the illusion that we are building a solid team full of young stars who are going to eventually be a great team in this league. And the fan base bought it hook, line, and sinker. As soon as they drafted Ben Simmons, ticket prices went through the roof. They knew exactly what they were doing. But what I'm saying is they never actually cared about the end product. They never actually cared about winning. They never actually cared about delivering that promise to the fan base. All they had to do was sell the hope, and they did that. Which is why now you have to sell the team, right? Because if you wanted longevity, you would have cared more about actually delivering the product to the fan base. But if you're in it just to make a profit and flip it, then you just sell hope. You don't have to actually win. So now they have to sell the team because the fan base is out on this ownership. You've lost the trust. Nobody trusts you anymore. So please, for the love of God, sell the team. Yeah, that's my take on that. What else? Ask Grok who's to blame. Who's to blame for what? All right, let's do it. Who's to blame for the 76ers? Who's to blame for the 76ers process being a failure? What do you think? Can't win when your best player is a 6-foot guard. Curry is the exception. Well, we're talking about the last 10 years. I don't know how you're blaming all of that on Tyrese Maxey. But you are, of course, a Celtics fan who has no idea what you're actually talking about. I think Brand is just one of those people who knows how to conduct himself around higher ups. It's a nice way of saying that he's a good ass kisser. The Philadelphia 76ers process, a deliberate strategy of tanking to accumulate high draft picks and build a championship caliber team, is often debated in terms of success or failure. While it didn't deliver a championship, calling it a complete failure oversimplifies things. The process produced a team that made the playoffs multiple times, developed all NBA talent like Joel Embiid, and positioned the Sixers as contenders for a stretch. Still, it fell short of the ultimate goal, and several parties share responsibility. See, this is what I'm saying right here. This is selling hope. While it didn't deliver a championship, calling it a complete failure oversimplifies things. Yeah, it was a win as a business strategy. They made the playoffs and they drafted Joel Embiid and they were, I guess, technically contenders for a stretch. That's a win as a business, not as a basketball team. Sam Hinkie, Sixers ownership. Ownership hired Hinkie to execute the process, but buckled under pressure from the NBA and fans forcing him out in 2016. Brian Colangelo, Elton Brand, Ben Simmons. A cornerstone of the process, Simmons was drafted number 1 overall in 2016. He became an all-star, but his refusal to develop a jump shot and poor playoff performances crippled the Sixers' ceiling. And then he regressed to a Timu Draymond Green on the LA Clippers on a 1-year minimum NBA contract. Absolutely unbelievable. Joel Embiid, as the face of the process, Embiid's injury history early in his career delayed the team's timeline. While he's become an MVP caliber player, his playoff shortcomings and occasional leadership critiques have raised questions about his ability to carry a team to a title. The NBA and external pressure. I don't believe any of that. Dude, super fans want to blame the NBA and say like, oh, Sam Hinkie didn't get a chance to see it through. Sam Hinkie didn't get a chance to do what he really wanted. Sam Hinkie didn't have a plan. I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of Sixers fans loved Sam Hinkie. Hinkie died for our sins, all that kind of stuff. Sam Hinkie did not have a plan. He said, we'll just lose on purpose, get to the top of the draft best player available every time, and then we'll try to figure it out after that. And you ended up with 3 centers. Good job. Way to go. You ended up with 3 centers. What did the Oklahoma City Thunder do? Traded for SGA, drafted Jalen Williams, drafted Jay Williams, drafted Chet Holmgren, signed Isaiah Joe out of free agency, traded for Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. They made moves there was a whole plan to build the team a certain way. The 76ers never had a plan to build the team a certain way, and they never executed any of that. If they did, they would have drafted players that made more sense alongside Joel Embiid. You don't draft Joel Embiid, hope that he can get healthy and play, and then draft Jahlil Okafor. Well, when Joel Embiid gets healthy, what are you going to do? You don't trade for Nerlens Noel and then draft Joel Embiid and Jahlil Okafor. Yeah, guess what? They all got healthy, and guess what? You had 3 starting centers on the same team and nothing else, and none of it made any sense. And then you had to try to trade guys like Okafor and Nerlens Noel, whose trade value was already gone because they weren't very good. Nah, they never had a plan, dude. They never had a plan. Teams like OKC had a plan. Teams like the Houston Rockets had a plan. Now, the Jalen Green thing isn't really working out too well. But drafting Şengün, hiring Ime Udoka, signing Fred VanVleet, even though he's shit in the bed in the playoffs so far also, but a veteran point guard, signing a veteran point guard over signing James Harden, something Daryl Morey would never do. We all know that. Daryl Morey probably thinks Fred VanVleet is a random basketball player. The Houston Rockets made a conscious decision to sign Fred VanVleet over James Harden because of the style of basketball they wanted to play. They wanted to move the ball around, and they wanted multiple points of attack. And they wanted a strong defense. Not that VanVleet's a defender, but signing James Harden would have made them have to run this James Harden system again. And they didn't want to do that. And that's a decision that a team makes when they have a plan on how they want to build a team. The 76ers never have a plan on how they want to build a team. They just say, what's the biggest name out there right now? Yeah, sign him, and then, I don't know, we'll figure it out, I guess. Yeah, anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble today. Detroit Pistons are going to win that playoff series against the New York Knicks. Knicks fans, I'm sorry to tell you. I don't know if Houston can come back against Golden State, man. It's not looking good because Houston doesn't really have any scoring. Unless Jalen Green starts to drop 20 a game, they're in big trouble. Denver should be up 2-0. They're not because Jokic choked in the fourth quarter. 7 turnovers. Too much flippity flopping. Playing like a 7-foot Jalen Brunson. And Kawhi Leonard was out of his mind. If Kawhi Leonard stays healthy, the Clippers are dude. Hot take. Hot take alert. If Kawhi Leonard stays healthy, the Clippers are going to the NBA Finals. Oh, shit. Because he's that good right now. He is that good right now. Do it, Bobby. Do it. Do it. He's that good right now, man. But he could also have knee swelling and be gone. That's always the risk with Kawhi Leonard. But man, when he's healthy, man. When he's healthy, he's that good. And he's like a robot, dude. No emotion. And even his shooting mechanics are like a robot. And the end of the game last night, dagger, mid-range, you could have bet your life savings on that specific shot. There's just no way he was missing it. He's just so like locked in and repetition and boom, boom. Yeah, James Harden deserves credit. He does. 2 more big 3-pointers in the fourth quarter for James Harden last night. And the Clippers' defense on Nikola Jokic, honestly. They had a really good defensive strategy on Nikola Jokic. Which is like, Jokic wants to pass the ball. He's a pass-first guy. And kind of like make him pass the ball, but also have a backup plan. Because if you double-team Jokic, he's just going to read the floor, and he's going to kill you. He's going to hit the guy in the corner, or he's going to hit, Westbrook cutting to the rim, or Aaron Gordon cutting to the rim. He's going to destroy you if you just double-team him without a plan, right? But they threw double teams at him with a plan for what to do afterwards. They also throw, single coverage at him and wait for him to ISO. He was way too passive last night. He passed the ball out of situations where he had a smaller defender on him a lot of times. I don't think he was aggressive enough scoring-wise, especially late in the fourth quarter in the paint. Bad turnovers because he's still trying to pass the ball. Like, you got to go put the ball in a hoop, and he knows that. But yeah, I think the Clippers played a great strategy on Jokic, like using his strength against him a little bit, baiting him into passing the ball, but having a plan. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, man. I'll talk to you guys soon.